So I'm joined by Mervyn Kelly, EMEA Marketing Director for Ciena. Mervyn, nice to see you. We're here obviously talking about SDN and NFV, two very hot topics within the industry. Tell me why are they so hot and how are they kind of developing as we move into 2015?
Okay, so I think it comes back to that we live in an app-centric world these days, whether you're consumer or business, and it's an app-centric on-demand world. I think the industry has realised that the best way to realise an on-demand world is with software programmability. What are SDN and NFV? They're software programmability techniques.
So obviously one of the key topics is we've talked about the benefits and the theory behind it all, but the real deployment is kind of what's really interesting. What are you seeing that's happening there and how that's developing?
Yeah, I'm seeing a much bigger focus moving from the theory of SDN and NFV towards people looking at practical issues to deployment and what they need to do. I mean, indeed, Ciena have introduced our own software division. We call it Agility to look at this stuff because we feel it's so important. What we're actually doing to help this become practical on the NFV space, and we've just recently announced this, is looking at how we enable managed service providers to cross that agility gap. And by that I mean, today, if you want to deploy something to an enterprise and it's hardware based, you have to go and source the hardware, you have to install it, deploy it, etc., etc. That takes a long time. With NFV, that allows you, these are software virtual functions, you can deploy it quickly. But the industry's been sort of saying, well, I just need a standard piece of hardware and a virtual function, that's it done. No, it's not. So what we're looking at introducing here is a three-tier approach. Top tier being the concept of a VNF market. So this is multiple different suppliers, virtual functions, applications if you like, that will be supported by Ciena in a marketplace and pre-tested and pre-approved with contractual relationships, so that if a managed service provider comes along tomorrow and says, my customer wants to deploy an encryption app, when do they want it? In an hour's time? That's fine. There's an encryption app on the market that they can deploy immediately. The second piece of this is a little bit of the technology and orchestrator. We call it director. And that's the thing that basically coordinates the deployment and licensing and all that sort of stuff for these applications. Now that director and that VNF market also allows you the concept of pay as you earn. So basically the enterprise tries the app. If they like it, they say, yeah, I'll have that. They start paying for it when they use it. The managed service provider only gets charged by Ciena whenever the enterprise starts using it. So they're earning money from the end customer and then they pay Ciena, and Ciena subsequently pay the actual guy who developed the app. And then, if you like, the bottom layer of that three-layer chain is the actual host itself. So what does it sit on, the application? And that can be centralized or distributed. So centralized on a server inside a data center or on a server capable customer premises device at the enterprise location. Doesn't really matter which it is. The solution will touch on both those.
Well, I guess sort of that whole pay-as-you-earn thing is something that sounds really kind of quite interesting. How's it really kind of going to benefit the people who are providing that and obviously the end customers?
That's it. It's truly a fundamental business process change. Again, think about how this used to work. If I'm a service provider and I want to launch a new service, well, I have to think about, well, I'm going to have to do upfront capital from the vendor. I need a return on investment business case. I have to do a projection of how many I'm going to sell in the market. That can take 18 to 24 months. Similarly, on the enterprise side, if they want to deploy a new application, they typically have to buy it on an annual or multi-year contract. So they're going, oh, can I really justify it if I only want it for a month? How does all that work? So this just takes all of that away. The enterprise, if they need it for a month, that's fine. They use it for a month and they buy it for a month. The service provider doesn't have all that upfront capital investment or anything else. He basically just says, look, yeah, if the enterprise wants it, I have no upfront cash outlay. There's no big issue there. So I pay as you earn. So it's a big fundamental business change and should free up a lot of that innovation for the enterprise to actually do stuff as they need it, when they need it, for the duration they need it. And the MSP, the managed service provider's business cases are instantaneous.
So innovation, instantaneous action. What are the other some of the key benefits that sort of virtualization can provide?
So I tend to take a look at this from a very basic point of view. If I'm not helping my customer grow their revenue stream or save costs and improve their profitability, then why am I there? And if I look at both SDN and NFV with those filters, if you like, SDN, we've already launched, and I've already launched a thing called on-demand connectivity service, the same concept, if you like, as NFV, which helps grow revenue.
Yeah.
The thing I just mentioned about NFV apps deployed to the enterprise, growing managed services revenues for service providers, again hits the top line. Both of those things will help grow revenue. Similarly, both of them impact the efficiency of the network in a positive way. You know, SDN will make my network much more efficient, easier to program, easier to provision new services, to manage the network. NFV is making the network appliances that live inside the network easier to deploy, faster to deploy, less capex outlay early on, etc., etc. So, you know, both SDN and NFV at a fundamental level affect both the top line revenue growth and the bottom line profitability, which I think is why, as I mentioned at the start, we're now seeing this being adopted pretty damn quick in our industry.
Good stuff. Mervyn, thank you very much.
Thank you.